What is up, guys? It is AJ, and this is the Blaydes versus Lewis weigh-in recap, predictions, and the betting odds. First thing we're going to talk about is record-breaking weight miss. Rafael Alves comes in over the 155-pound limit for a fight at featherweight of 146-pound weight cap. 11 and a half pounds he misses weight by. Record-breaking. Obviously, he was devastated. He was crying, but why did he miss that much weight? Very bad look, missing weight by that much. I wouldn't be surprised if he's potentially even cut from the UFC. At the least, he will never, or at least not for a long time, be allowed to schedule a fight in the featherweight division, missing the lightweight limit for a featherweight bout. So not a good look there. Could potentially see him being cut. That was the first thing I wanted to talk about. That fight's canned. It's over. That fight's not happening with him and Pat Sabatini. Disappointing. I was looking forward to it, but it is what it is. Let's first talk about the main card, and I'll give you my predictions as well as the weights and whatnot. We'll look at the face-offs. And then if you guys are still interested, stick around. We will go into the undercard. So let me bring up the main card first and foremost. All right. Here we go. Let's start it up. Tom Aspinall and Andrei Arlovski. Size-wise, similar height. Arlovski inch shorter. It's going to be a good fight, though. I do think striker's dream matchup there. Andrei Arlovski, excellent boxing skill, questionable chin. Tom Aspinall, knockout power, hot prospect. As far as weights goes, Aspinall 245, and for Arlovski 249.5. Actually, Aspinall's 244.5. A good matchup here. Aspinall is going to win it. He's going to win it by knockout. I think he's going to get it done inside of 2 rounds, but it's not an easy fight. I mean, Arlovski's been the underdog in his past 2 against Felipe Lins. He was the underdog. In his most recent outing against Tanner Bozier was the dog, and he wins both of those fights. Arlovski's not an easy out, but I think Tom Aspinall is the real deal and a potential contender in the near future, and I think he beats Arlovski here. I'm going Aspinall, knockout. Betting odds for that fight, obviously, are going to be in the favorite of Aspinall. He's a minus 240 to Arlovski at the plus 220. Odds will vary site to site. Personally, I like Aspinall here. If you want to place a bet, go ahead and throw something down. I do really think that he gets it done by knockout here. Now, the next fight's a good one. Nazardine Imavov versus Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes, very skilled, long career, or not like the longest of careers, but he does have a good amount of experience. It was a long road to get to the UFC for him. Imavov, exciting prospect, guy with good range, skill, height advantage here. Can Phil Hawes last 3 rounds? Does he have the endurance for this fight? I think Imavov definitely does. I think Imavov beats him here, and I think he stops him inside of the 3rd round. I think there's a potential for Phil Hawes to gas out. Could see Hawes knocking him out early. He did that in the last fight, 18 seconds against Jacob Malhoun, but we'll see. Time will tell. Well, right now, I think Imavov gets it done, but I do think there is a case to be made for Phil Hawes. Odds right now, Imavov's the plus 100. Hawes is the minus 110. Odds will vary along that. But Hawes is a very slight favorite in a practically pick'ems fight. As far as weight, both fighters coming in 185 for Hawes, 185.5 Imavov. Good to see both made weight, no issues there. Actually, the entire main card, the weights are on point, which is great because there are some fun fights. Next fight of the night, Chris Daukaus takes on Aleksandar Olynyk. This is a fun fight, man. This is a good heavyweight matchup. This grappler, striker, knockout artist, but let's be honest, Chris Daukaus, we haven't seen much of his ground game. I do know he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Obviously, Aleksandar Olynyk is beyond just being a black belt. He's very dangerous and awkward on the ground. But Chris Daukaus is going to get it done here. I think he actually knocks Aleksandar Olynyk out. He has some pop. He's quick. Olynyk can be stopped. We've seen him knocked out before. But I know Chris Daukaus. I know that Chris Daukaus knows respect the grappling. Respect when those awkward overhands come in and Olynyk's looking to come in and clinch you and get you to the ground and potentially set up a crazy Ezekiel choke and pull you into his mount. We've seen him do it. I think that we're going to see Chris Daukaus win it. Obviously, Aleksandar Olynyk, no slouch, tons of fights throughout his career. I'm riding Daukaus to win here, but it's not an easy fight. Olynyk is a game out for anybody in the heavyweight division, at least guys that are not in the top 4, top 5. Like outside of that, Olynyk is game with any of those guys, especially with his submission skills. Betting odds for that fight, as of right now, Daukaus the minus 190 favorite, Olynyk the plus 175 dogs, reasonable odds, and I do think that Chris Daukaus will get it done, but it's not going to be easy. Let's actually quickly tell you guys the weights, because I think there is a not much of a weight difference, actually. Olynyk 240, Daukaus 234. Olynyk a little bit heavier than we've seen him previously. Daukaus coming in good shape. He's definitely lost weight since his career outside of the UFC, where he's a little bit fatter. He's definitely leaned out a bit, and I think that's going to benefit him even more here. He's going to have the speed advantage and striking advantage overall. Now, next fight of the night, Derrick Minor, Charles Rosa. Minor's a fun guy to watch. Dangerous guillotine choke, good on the ground. 1-round fighter, maybe 2-round fighter. He does tend to gas a bit, and I don't think he's going to get Charles Rosa out of there unless he catches him very early with potentially a guillotine choke. We saw what Minor did to TJ Laramie, and the guillotine was there. Charles Rosa, very high level on the ground, is not going to let that happen. Went in there with Bryce Mitchell, dominated, but he did last the 3 rounds with a very dangerous grappler in Bryce Mitchell. I have Rosa winning it. It's not going to be easy. Both fighters 146. Probably a decision win here for Rosa, or potentially a 3rd round stoppage, or maybe even a submission because he'll gas Minor out a bit. Not an easy fight. I think the first round's very competitive, but after the first round, it's going to start going in the favor of Charles Rosa. Odds for this matchup, Rosa's the minus 185 favorite. Minor the plus 170 dog. I got to ride with the favorite Charles Rosa here to get it done. Hard fought fight, but he will win. Now, the next fight of the night is a fun co-main event, and I actually was incorrect saying everybody on the main card made weight. How could I forget? Ketlin Vieira was 138. She came in over the limit. Unit Kanetsky at 135.5. Good job to her. Vieira missing weight. Not a good look. I could really see her as a contender, but you got to get the weight under control. If you're not able to make the weight, how could they give you a world title shot? And I think maybe 2 more wins for her it's going to take for her to get there, but she's definitely closing in on being a top contender. Yana Kanetsky, not an easy fight by any means. I still think Vieira overwhelms her and wins here by a hard-fought decision, but not a good look with the weight miss by any means. Not at all. Betting odds for this fight, as of right now, minus 260 for Vieira. Yuna Kanetsky plus 240. Strong favorite. Could have been closer in the odds, but I do think Vieira gets it done. Now, the next fight of the night, Derrick Lewis. He takes on Curtis the Razor Blaydes. Heavyweight matchup. Obviously, as a fan, I gotta, really hope Derrick Lewis was able to pull something out. I'm a fan of Derrick Lewis. He's so fun to watch. He's hilarious on the mic. How do you not like Derrick Lewis as an MMA fan? Everybody likes Derrick Lewis. But Curtis Blaydes, bad stylistic matchup. The bigger man of the two as far as height goes by a slight bit. Better wrestling. I think we're going to see Curtis Blaydes get Derrick Lewis to the ground here. Get some control on top. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I mean, Derrick Lewis is not an easy out, but stylistically bad matchup. And I think Blaydes potentially stops him in the 3rd here just by overwhelming him with the grappling attack. I mean, if Derrick Lewis could land something big, he can easily change the fight in 1 punch, but I'm not going to rely on the 1-punch knockout in my prediction. This is not how I'm going to do it. I'm going with the guy with a more wide array of skills and definitely an advantage in the grappling. Curtis Blaydes wins here, 3rd round TKO, potentially even a decision, potentially a submission. Can't give you an exact method, but I do see Curtis Blaydes being victorious and really making a strong case for a title shot. He's a minus 435 favorite, Lewis the plus 385 dog. As far as the weights do go, let me quickly look at that. 259 for Blaydes is pretty heavy. Derrick Lewis 263, but Blaydes looks good though, and as does Derrick Lewis. It's going to be a good fight, but I think that we see Curtis Blaydes get the W here in the main event. Now, if you guys are interested, we're going to check out the undercard as well. If you're not, tune out. It's good seeing you guys, and I appreciate all of you for watching. But let's get into this undercard. We're going to start with the first fight of the night, so I'm going to work my way all the way down, all the way back. Let's see if MMA Junkie loads for us here. Shout out MMA Junkie for molesting us with advertisements on their page. Thankfully, ad blocker occasionally works. All right, so let's get into it. Sergey Spivak, Jared Vanderaa. Big guys. 2 big heavyweights going at it here. Good skill sets for both. I like Spivak's odds of winning. The win over Carlos Felipe, as of right now, is actually looking pretty good because Felipe's a pretty solid fighter. I know he was making his debut there and the hype wasn't really there as of yet, but he's a solid fighter. He's entertaining. I think we see Spivak win against Jared Vanderaa. I don't know if this is going to be an epic fight. I could see a potential decision here, a grinding type of fight. And obviously there is a chance for Vanderaa to knock him out, but I just think higher likelihood we see Sergey Spivak get a big win here and win this fight by a decision. As far as the weights go, 245 Spivak, 265 Vanderaa. So I will say that weight does a little bit concern me in the clinch exchanges. So I would potentially hold off a bet on Sergey Spivak because I do think there's odds that he could lose. I think he has a more wide array of skills as of right now than his opponent Jared Vanderaa does. But size does play a factor in fights, and 20 pounds is a serious advantage. Vanderaa is a plus 215 dog. Sergey Spivak, the minus 235 favorite. I don't normally do this, but if you are looking to bet a dog that I think has a high upside potential, it's Jared Vanderaa. I'm still riding Spivak to win the fight, but it's a pick'ems. And I think Vanderaa could do it. Picking Spivak, potentially maybe you bet Vandera if that's something you're looking to do, if you believe in the dog. Maybe. He might pull it off here. Not an easy fight, but he definitely could. Draco Rodriguez, who missed weight. Amian Zahabi, the brother of Faraz Zahabi. Betting odds for this fight, plus 167. It's going to vary around there for Zahabi. Draco at minus 178. Let me quickly look at the weights, because I know Draco missed. Yeah, he comes in at 140.5 for a fight at 135. Oh, come on, guys. Make some weight. Make weight. It's hard. I know weight cutting is hard. Maybe he's got to move up a weight class. I don't think he does. I don't think he has the frame necessarily for 145 just yet. He's a young guy. I think he will make weight the next time out. He just needs to get a proper nutritionist. He does look lean, but there is something that went wrong with the weight cut. Draco Rodriguez should win here, and I think that he does have better striking than Zahabi, and he is an explosive young prospect, but still not a good look with the weight miss. We're going Rodriguez for a win, but not necessarily a good look missing the weight. But I do think he gets it done. Even though Zahabi does have a very high-level brother that trains him, I think Draco Rodriguez is an exciting prospect to watch. But the weight miss, just not a good look. Still, riding Draco here. Next fight of the night, we see Jamal Emmers. He had a good fight against Giga Chikadze. He takes on Chas Skelly. I'll tell you right now, I like Emmers in this fight. I think he's a bit better everywhere than Chas Skelly, maybe besides doing crazy stuff like we saw, I believe, against Maximo Blanco. Chas Skelly a few years ago was able to tap him in like 20 seconds, comes out with like a flying attack, and then got him in an anaconda choke. I am going to ride Jamal Emmers. I think he probably gets a decision win here. It's not an easy fight. Chas Skelly is game, but I do think Emmers, the superior fighter, gets it done. Weights here, 145.5. Emmers, Chas Skelly, 146. Betting odds, quickly get them for you guys as well. Minus 225 favorite is Emmers. Chas Skelly plus 205. Widespread odds. I think that Emmers does get it done. Next fight of the night, Casey ONeill takes on Shayna Dobson. Dobson, huge win over Maria Agapova in her last fight. She was a massive underdog. She comes in here, much closer odds, a plus 140 dog. Casey ONeill, the minus 150 favorite. As far as the weights do go, came in, let's see if we can find them here. 125.5. ONeill, 126 Dobson. I'm not going to jump on the Shayna Dobson upset train. I think the undefeated Casey ONeill gets it done here, and I do think she wins a decision in a fairly competitive fight because Shayna Dobson is game, but ONeill has more to offer. I'm riding ONeill. Next fight of the night, Patrick Sabatini, Rafael Alves. It's canceled. Apologize on that. I think that was going to be a fun fight, but unfortunately, we are not going to see that one. We don't know if we'll see Rafael Alves back in the UFC for a while. He might potentially be getting released with that loss, or rather with that weight miss, which is worse than a loss, to be honest. You would have been better off getting knocked out in 20 seconds than missing weight by as much as he did. Probably gets him released, unfortunately. Juliana Rosa, Nate Landwehr. I kind of feel like this is a step down in competition for Nate. Juliana Rosa's tough, and I like him. He's a good fighter. He's coming off a big win in his last fight. I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I don't know why I'm struggling to think of the name. But Nate Landwehr coming off the fight against Darren because that was Sean Woodson. Juliana Rosa beat Sean Woodson in his last fight. Big upset. I think Nate Landwehr is going to overwhelm him, beat him, and probably win here. Leaning decision or third round stoppage for Nate. I do think he gets it done. And Juliana Rosa, tough guy, decent skill set, but Nate Landwehr wins. As far as the weights do go, 145.5 at Rosa, 146 Landwehr. As far as the betting odds go, plus 112 is a Rosa. Nate Landwehr, the minus 122. I don't think they're giving Nate Landwehr the respect he deserves on the betting lines. I do think he's going to win here. He might be a steal of the night because I think he overwhelms Julian. Next fight of the night, John Castaneda takes on Eddie Wineland. This is a fun fight. Eddie Wineland, OG guy. Bad loss to Sean O'Malley. That really broke Sean O'Malley out, though. I mean, that was a huge win for Sean. If you look at the fight here, good fighters on both sides. Castaneda, good striking. Wineland, good striking. Entertaining fight, I believe. 136 for Castaneda. Wineland, 135.5. I don't think it's going to be a showcase knockout like we saw Sean O'Malley do to Eddie Wineland, but I do think John Castaneda has a chance to get the W here. If you look at the betting odds, Wineland's a plus 110, Castaneda minus 120. I like him at those odds. I'm riding John Castaneda for a decision win over the very game and longtime veteran Eddie Wineland. Now, the next fight of the night, Violent Bob Ross and Draco close. Big height advantage. Strength advantage, though, I'm going to lean it's going to be in closest favor. Granted, Luis Pena, pretty good grappling skills. Doesn't have a ton of power as far as striking goes, but does have good technique. Dracar close, a lot more explosive, a lot more power, and I think Dracar is going to beat him here. I do think he wins. As far as the odds, minus 157 favorite is close to Pena at a plus 147. Odds will vary around that. As far as the weights for these two, let me quickly bring them up. 156 close. Pena 155.5. I like close. It's crazy. Pena fought as low as 145. He's a very thin guy, but I think close beats him here. And I think Draco close, I mean, he's a solid fighter, entertaining guy. That great fight with ONeill Dariush in his last one, tough loss, but this is definitely a step lower in competition. And I think that Draco close gets the victory over Luis Pena. Now, the next fight of the night, we have Danny Chavez versus Jared Gordon. I believe this is the featured prelim. Yes, it is. In each other's faces. Gordon misses weight. He's 150. Danny Chavez, 145. Comes in looking shredded. I was impressed by his debut. I like Danny Chavez, man. I think he's going to actually probably come out here and get the W over Jared Gordon. But the weight miss, little bit of a concern. Maybe a little more strength in there still. I don't think it matters. I think Chavez comes out and does work here against Jared Gordon, winning unanimous decision, but outstriking him throughout is what I'd predict for this fight. As far as the odds, Danny Chavez, minus 142 favorite. Jared Gordon, plus 132 underdog. Ride the slight favorite. I got Danny Chavez. Should be a fun card. Make sure you guys check it out. Probably the most exciting fight on the card for me is going to be the Tom Aspinall fight. He's an exciting prospect. I love the heavyweight division, and I'm excited to see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll see you all in the next video.